Hey folks, in this video I want to talk to you a little bit more about the new Tamron 70-200 G2. Just put a video up on this one, some initial test shots on it, got a huge response. A lot of people are really interested in this one. I fly off to Mongolia tomorrow and I don't have time to do a full thing for you now, but I'm going to show two things in today's video. One, how is the closest focus, the reproduction ratio, focus breathing, and then two, just show you some little test sample images. Now, of course, to do that, it needs to have a comparison point. So first, my 70-200 VR2. This is not the FL version. This is just the one I own, VR2. This is the one that does suffer from focus breathing, and when you're at closest focus, is more like a 130-140 mil than a 200 mil. And then as a control, I have the bad boy, the 200mm f2. This is absolutely astonishing, and this one is pretty damn close to a full 200mm, even up close. So let's test it out. The Generation 2 Tamron was just recently announced. Its main attractions are that it's only $1,300, it now takes teleconverters, and it's the latest generation in their SP lineup. This one will focus down to just 0.95 meters. Despite being several years old and there now being a new version out, the VR2 is still selling for $2,100 US, and it's got a closest focusing distance of 1.4 meters, or so it says. The 200 f2 is truly a beast of a lens, but it's kind of in a category of its own. This is $5,700, big and heavy, and the closest focus is the longest at 1.9 meters. So as I said, because they all have different closest focuses, it's hard to know exactly what's the best way to test this to see what its maximum reproduction really is. So we're going to do it two ways. We're going to shoot all three of the lenses at 2 meters from our subject at 200 mil and see what the resulting frame is. Then we're also going to shoot them at their closest focus. So it's 1.9, 1.4 and 0.95. And if they were all true, you would expect that there is going to be a big difference in the reproduction ratio, but we'll just have to see how it actually works out. So there we go, there's the Tamron. Here's the Nikon VR2. And there we go, there's the 200 f2. Okay, wow. The 200 f2 is way closer even at 2 meters. So at 2 meters, the reproduction ratio of both of those is off. But if maximum reproduction is the most important thing, just take a look once we go to their closest focusing distance. So you would expect that with this being the closest focusing down to 95 centimeters, it's going to have the biggest final image. But that doesn't always travel through on lenses. So let's take a look here. Let's just give you a little bit more fill. Those eyelashes. Okay, so at closest focus, the Tamron lets me get that image. The 70-200 from Nikon is only 1.4 meters closest focus. So stepping back, that's here. So just comparing that to the Tamron, big difference in terms of our closest focus. Now let's just equalize that with the 200 f2. So the 200 is noticeably closer than the 70-200, but the Tamron lets you focus a whole lot closer. That's really quite surprising. Next up, we jumped in a lift and headed out to Union Square Park and found a couple of nice spots to shoot here with our model Stacia. I went through a couple of different setups here and threw a GoPro on my camera so you could get a first-person example. First up, here we are with some shots from the Tamron. Following it up, here are a couple from the Nikon 70-200 VR2. I didn't bring the 200 f2 out. Now, I didn't get the exact frame on these, but I did test. This is the closest the Nikon can go, whereas the Tamron lets us get in this close. Okay, so I'm going to get a few different shots here, framing her up with this statue behind her, just so we can get a sense of how is the fall off in front and behind if the out of focus areas. Okay, so there's the whole frame showing you how it looks at f/22, so you can see the tree in the background. Here's the Tamron at f4, and here it is at f2.8. Likewise, here's the Nikon at f4 and f2.8. All right, I wanted to get some nice bokeh in the background. It's not nighttime, so we don't have lights that we can blow out, but the little highlights that you get on leaves like this hedge that I've put here will give us nice blown out little highlights that again will show us the shape of the out of focus area. Okay, so here's a couple of different shots here taken with the Tamron showing the out of focus areas. And here we go is the Nikon. Let's head back to studio and talk it through. Okay folks, back in studio now. So let me know in the comments, what did you think of the images coming off this lens? Personally, I'm really impressed. I think it's gonna sell like crazy. Less than half the price of the Nikon. The new Canon's coming soon, so it's probably gonna be right up there as well as the Nikon. It's performing really, really well. I have to say, this is not a paid video. I never do paid reviews. That you can just mark that down. Tamron sent me this with no conditions. It's a loaner, and I'm really impressed with it. It handles well, so far so good anyway. I haven't shot with it a whole lot. I think the big thing a lot of people were hesitant about was what was the maximum reproduction ratio going to be, and it just blasts the VR2, and even with the closest focus difference, even the 200mm f2. I haven't got the Sigma or the new Nikon or the Canon here to test out, but I doubt any of them are going to beat that overall maximum reproduction ratio that you can get in for a really tight headshot there. The blur is nice, it's sharp, the colors off it are really good. I think surprisingly with the D5, the colors straight out of camera are looking even better than with the Nikon's own one. 70-200 is an absolute staple in a lot of photographers' kits, and if you're on the fence about which way you should go, I would seriously suggest you do check this one out. The Gen 1 was already really good. This one is significantly better, and at the price, I still want to reserve my judgment because I've only shot with it in total for a couple of hours, and that's really not enough to say overall and to find any quirks. But early signs are extremely promising, and I do think this one's absolutely gonna sell like hotcakes. I think it's coming out in March, so not long from now. I've got links to it below, Adorama, Amazon, and B&H. If you are planning on pre-ordering it anyway, then I'd really appreciate it if you use my affiliate link. But nothing I'm saying here is to hype it up to get you to buy it. It's just, I know there's a lot of interest and I think it's performing really well. So please do leave me your thoughts. Let me know if you're shooting with a 70-200, which one, how you like it, what you think of this one. And I'll see you soon. I really have to run and finish packing to get ready for Mongolia. And this is coming. I'll see you later.